Welcome to Your Next Bold Move. Our show is all about helping you take your next step, whether it's career or relationships or life in general. Hello, and welcome to Your Next Bold Move. My name is Wendy Capland. Today's show is focused on taking the lead in your life with our guest, Betsy Myers. Betsy is the author of Take the Lead, Motivate, Inspire, and Bring Out the Best in Yourself and Everyone Around You. Betsy is currently the Executive Director of Bentley University's Center for Women in Business in Massachusetts. And before this position, she was a senior advisor to two U.S. presidents, Presidents Obama and Clinton. Betsy is passionate about how leaders make others feel and how you too can have a profound impact on everyone around you. I'm so glad you're here today.
Wendy.
Thanks for coming.
Here.
So let's talk about your great book, Take the Lead. Yeah, so what had you write this book to start with?
I've always been passionate about leadership and kind of why people do what they do, and I've always had this fascination about, why was it that my fifth grade teacher was beloved, where another teacher was feared? What was it about when I worked in the White House? What was it about Secretary Bob Rubin, our Treasury Secretary, who used to walk down the halls of the White House and was just, people would bow in respect, but he also got the work done. So I always had this curiosity about it, and so when I had the opportunity to write this book, it really was my journey into looking across my life, both personally and professionally, for not only myself, when was I most motivated, when was I my best self, and when were the people around me motivated and what was their best self? And is it different? Has it changed? Has leadership changed in our world as the world has changed or not?
Yeah. So what do you think about that? Has leadership changed?
I think it has. I think the old notion of leadership, which was command and control.
I agree.
Do as I say.
Right, because I said so and I'm the boss.
Right. And what I realized through my journey of writing this book was that you can get anybody to do anything for a short period of time.
That's true.
But you won't get their heart. So often I have found people find themselves in jobs or careers that really aren't them.
And sometimes people have been doing the same work for so many years. It maybe fit them at one point, or it seemed like a good idea, and in fact it probably was.
Right.
But people sort of grow out of.
Right, and you change what matters to you, and I always say this happens, maybe what matters or what you like doing at 30 changes when you're 40 or 50
Definitely.
or 60, right? And so to be able to stay conscious. And so I say, no, you're the leader of your life. You should be in a place doing something that brings you joy. And if you forget what that is, I would say go back to your childhood. What were the things in your childhood that got you excited, that you were curious about, that got you, out of bed in the morning? Or look back in your life and say, what were the times I was most productive? For me, one of the times I was most productive and happy is when I had the privilege to work for President Bill Clinton in the White House as his senior advisor on women. We started a new office, which was called the Office of Women's Initiatives and Outreach. And I absolutely loved the advocacy work. I loved working with all the women leaders. I loved being in the country with everyday women and hearing what mattered to them in their life. President Clinton was and is the kind of leader where no one's invisible. So the whole premise of my book, which is what I say, is that leaders create a feeling where when people feel valued and feel included and feel appreciated, they do their best work. And I felt that way in the Clinton White House. I felt I was part of something bigger than myself. I felt appreciated. And so I look back on that time and I think I was one of the most productive times in my life because I was not only, I think, accessing my skills and gifts that are about Betsy, but I was also in an environment where I felt valued.
Yeah. You do a lot of speaking for women's groups in particular?
And corporations.
And companies,
Yeah,
of course.
Mostly working, with women inside corporations, but my book is really not, it's not a women's book. It is a every person book, because what corporations are struggling with is the high numbers. It's hard to believe. When I first went down this road, I had to reread it and relook at these studies, but 50 to 70% of American workers feel unhappy in the workplace. And
that's a huge
number. It's huge. In 2011, 84% of people were looking for a new job. So corporations are saying, well, what do we do about this? So one of the things I'm championing out there in the work of my book is to say, wow, maybe since we spend so much money on leadership development, maybe we take a look at, are we training our leaders and managers in the right things? And what I'm saying is to step back and say, helping our managers, leaders, to say, how are my behaviors impacting the people around me? And do the people around me feel valued? Do they feel appreciated, included, heard? And what am I doing as a manager or leader to bring that out? We have become such a culture now of people sitting behind their computers all day long.
That's true.
And we're not getting out. Every leader I interviewed for my book, they call it different things, but walking your floors, building relationships, checking in on your people. How are you? Are you happy here? What can I do to make your life better? What do you think that we should be doing that we're not doing?
Yeah.
One of the things I did when I was COO of the Obama campaign was I did one breakfast a week for an hour and a half. There's 10 departments in a presidential campaign. I had one person from each department come have breakfast with me.
That's great.
And I asked 3 questions. One, why are you here? You know, and no matter what organization, to ask your people, why are you here? Why are you working on the campaign? Why are you working for this company? 2, what are we doing right in this department or division or company or organization? And what do we need to do to improve?
That's great.
And it was incredible because not only was there connection between the people in the room, who many of them didn't know each other,
Yes.
There was this ability, people felt, oh, you care about what I think. My friend Warren Bennis, he wrote the afterword for my book, but he's one of the gurus of leadership.
Yes.
I asked him once, I said, what is the number one piece of advice that you could give to people in the world? He's now 87. He said, well, to be interested makes you interesting. So being interested in the people around you makes you interesting. People gravitate to people who are interested in them and have some curiosity about the people around them and bring some joy to what they're doing, wherever that is.
Let's talk a little bit about your work with women. Tell me what you're doing. Tell us what you're doing at Bentley.
So it's a brand new center at Bentley University. It's a Center for Women in Business. We found ourselves, hard to believe, in 2012, that we still only have in the top rungs, the C-suite jobs and board positions in corporate America, somewhere between 10 and 15% of women. Although we have 50% of women in the middle jobs, there's this leaky pipeline still, and that women are leaving corporate America. But the exciting thing about this time in our country is that corporate America now is saying, it's not just a nice thing to do to harness the brain power of women, it's actually will make us more profitable. Almost 90% of consumer buying is done by women. And so companies are saying, wait a minute, we need to adjust our workforce to be able to relate to our customer. So what's happening is corporations are saying, wow, we've tried some programs, we've tried some things to promote and retain more women, but we're still at 10%. So can you help us? So our center is actually a place of best practices. What's working in corporate America to support, retain, and promote women in the workplace?
Oh, so great. So there's two ways in which I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking, okay, so what are corporations, the good ones, doing?
Yes.
And then I'm thinking, well, what if you're a woman who wants a little more in her life? What can you do?
Yes. So my friend Rebecca Shambaugh wrote a book called It's Not About the Glass Ceiling, It's About the Sticky Floor. Meaning, yeah, there's still a glass ceiling, we're working on it, but what are we doing as women to keep our feet stuck to the floor? What are the behaviors we're doing that may not be as strategic?
So is there one thing that you see people doing a lot that keeps them stuck where they are and not moving?
I think it would be 2 things. One is get off your computer and build those relationships.
Yeah.
And 2, think about how you're communicating with the people around you. You know, are you coming from a place of love and honor and respect, or are you coming from a place of overreaction?
For people who want to find you for corporate work to help with leadership, how would they reach you?
Best way is go on my website, betsymyers.com.
And they can find...
And they can find me. They can put a message into there's a place to do
Contact.
that. And I can get back to you, or I'm reachable at Bentley University in Waltham.
Great. You've just had a chance to hear Betsy Myers, author of Take the Lead, who is the Executive Director of Bentley University Center for Women and Business. If you're someone who would like some more information on this program or on leadership development in general, we have some free resources on our website, visionquestconsulting.com. And finally, if you're interested in how you can make a bigger, deeper impact with your own gifts and talents, you can go to Amazon.com and get a free excerpt and download to purchase my new book, 9 Steps to Creating Your Next Bold Move. And I'm so happy you were able to join us today, and a big thank you again to our guest, Betsy Myers, for being here, and thanks to you, our viewers. You are meant to go forth in the world to use your gifts and talents.